After being delayed from last year, FromSoftware is finally ready to release Elden Ring Tarnished Edition for the Nintendo Switch 2 on August 28th. Of course, we're no stranger to the original. It won tons of Game of the Year awards in its launch year, including our own, and sold tens of millions of copies. To say that it was the most impactful release of 2022 would be an understatement, and it will finally be available for Nintendo fans later this month. So what should you expect from the package, which retails for a whopping $79.99 USD? Let's dive into everything, starting with includes the base game and Shadow of the Erdtree. For this price, you get both the base Elden Ring experience and its expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree. We'll get into each of their content next, but even if they're years old, they still represent the best open world and Souls-like titles out there with tons of replay value. Where the journey begins. Your journey will begin in the lands between, specifically Limgrave, as you venture to the Legacy dungeons, defeat their bosses, and claim the Great Runes, all in an effort to reforge the Elden Ring. And while things are a bit more complicated than that, especially when it comes to further opening up the world, you don't have to follow a specific order. Heck, it's possible to skip certain story bosses and still finish the game. To the Land of Shadow. Shadow of the Erdtree, however, is a different beast entirely. Don't let the expansion moniker fool you. It's a sizable experience in its own right, set in the Land of Shadow. It's highly vertical, which is both especially perilous and ripe with secrets, from challenging bosses to clues about the Queen Marika, featuring some of the toughest bosses in the genre. It also has a separate progression track where collecting Shadow Tree fragments can boost damage dealt and taken, which can be completely forgone if you seek more of a challenge. Freedom of exploration. Combining elements of Breath of the Wild with FromSoftware's own Dark Souls series, the Lands Between and the Land of Shadow offer unprecedented freedom compared to most other open-world titles. I can't really say it's the ideal Souls-like for newcomers, but when you realize that exploration is essentially how you get stronger, every nook and cranny holds wondrous possibilities. Find hidden caves, tackle field bosses, open chests that teleport you to different places, interact with mysterious NPCs who call you maidenless, a giant rune bear that will make your life hell. What more could you want? Weapons, spells, and everything in between. Of course, beyond earning runes, which can increase your stats and overall level, you'll discover a litany of weapons, spells, items, crafting recipes, and more to help on your journey. One of the best parts is the sheer build variety. Whether you're looking to play a melee warrior who's focused on super heavy two-handers, a spellcaster who relies on magic, or even something in between, there are hundreds of choices available. And that's before getting into armor sets, talismans, consumables, and so on. Spirit Ashes. Another key element in all of this is Spirit Ashes. While summoning has typically been used in past titles to bring in other players or NPCs, Spirit Ashes work differently. Think of them as AI companions that you can whip out at any time, provided you have enough FP, and which have their own playstyles, be it the blissful spirit jellyfish who can build up poison to the literal ender of golden bloodlines, Black Knife Tish. Tons of bosses. Come on, it wouldn't be a FromSoft title without challenging boss fights, and many worthy adversaries await. Without going into spoilers, Elden Ring offers some of the most involved bosses ever created. They may throw you off with their speed and extensive combos, but the spectacle is unmatched, especially in Shadow of the Erdtree. Once again, not every boss is mandatory, and they aren't all masterclasses in design, but in terms of sheer variety and breadth, the selection remains unmatched. Co-op support. Fortunately for you, there's co-op, and it works pretty much as it does in FromSoftware's other titles, Night Rain notwithstanding. You'll need a fur-calling finger remedy, which exposes various summoning signs in the world. Interact with them afterwards, and you can summon up to 2 other players to join you. If you're facing a boss, its health scales in response, so keep that in mind. Those looking to play with friends will need to set up a multiplayer password, and upon entering it, follow the same process and interact with their summoning signs to bring them in. The Colosseum. While there's also PvP through invasions, whether you're the one invading through the use of the duelist furled finger or being invaded by someone else, FromSoftware actually added a dedicated PvP space in a post-launch update. The Coliseum is a first of sorts, offering 3 arenas where you can engage in 1v1s, 3v3s, or a free-for-all with 6 players. No outside enemies to get involved, and different rules depending on the location. The Caelid Coliseum, for example, is the only one that allows Spirit Ashes. Tarnished Edition's new starting classes. Going back to the build variety of Elden Ring, the Tarnished Edition adds 2 new starting classes to mix things up. There's the Heavy Knight, who wields a massive scimitar and has 17 endurance and 15 strength while equipped with heavy armor. And on the other end is the Idis Knight, who has an interesting stat spread, with dexterity the highest at 15, and seemingly wields a light greatsword, a weapon type introduced in Shadow of the Erdtree. New armor and weapons. Aside from the 2 new armor sets and weapons available with the Heavy Knight and Idis Knight, there are others to look forward to in the Tarnished Edition. Some from the Dark Souls series. The Lucatil set, Mira's set from Dark Souls 2 and 3 returns alongside the beloved Hollow Slayer greatsword. The jury's out on how much the latter has changed for the lands between, but it still looks fantastic. New Torrent skins. And in almost a comical twist, FromSoftware is adding horse armor. More specifically, there are customization skins for Torrent, the spectral steed who serves as your mount, including one that resembles the Knight's Cavalry. While Tarnished Edition players will get this and all of the other content for free, everyone else needs to buy the Tarnished pack for $4.99. Physical release contains game key card. Amid the sobriety of PlayStation's disc manufacturing shift in the coming years, it's kind of nice that Elden Ring Tarnished Edition has a physical release. And it's a game key card. The Nintendo UK listing indicates a 41GB download, which could end up larger, but if you're expecting to have a full game available on a cartridge, that's unfortunately not the case. Runs at 30 FPS and 1080p in handheld mode. The biggest reason for the Tarnished Edition's delay on Nintendo Switch 2 is the performance. Hands-on impressions from last year's Gamescom weren't exactly glowing, to say the least. Fortunately, it seems that extra time has paid off, with the RPG site reporting 30 FPS in handheld mode and a 1080p resolution that's described as very sharp. Even if the frame rate isn't rock solid all the time, it's noted to hit the target more often than not, which is good news. Here forever. As noted earlier, this is some of the best open world and Souls-like content out there, and it will keep you busy. How long? How Long to Beat has the base game at about 101 hours on average if you pursue the main quest and side content, while Shadow of the Erdtree takes 39 hours. If you're a completionist, you can spend almost 190 hours in total, and that's not even accounting for New Game Plus. Long story short, if this is your first time playing a FromSoft game on Switch 2, then Elden Ring hits like nothing else. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.